Good evening. Welcome to the 2024 edition of the National Matchplay Preview. And I am delighted to be joined by John O'Leary, doyen of the game in Cork, National Matchplay Champion a few years ago. Two times National Matchplay Champion, John?
No, only one, Frank.
Only once, and one final as
Two
well.
finals.
Two finals.
Three finals
Three
altogether.
finals and one winning. And we have Anthony Malone, Skinner Malone, Chairman Dublin County Board, legend of the game, National Stroke Play Champion. What's the furthest you ever got in the match play, Skinner?
Semi-final.
Semi-final, right.
Yeah.
So we've everybody in this call has been beaten at some stage in the match play. And
many times.
Many times. That's the thing about this game. You lose a lot more than you win, but we're gluttons for punishment. Right. I know this show goes on a long time, right? Because it's gone on over an hour the last couple of years, but we'll try get it under the hour this time because it makes life easier for everybody. And we're going to start. The match play is going to be on the June Bank holiday weekend, Saturday, Sunday and Monday in the fantastic Larkspur Park, which is in Cashel, one of the most picturesque courses in the country, actually one of the best venues in the country. They always have it in brilliant condition. And without further ado, we're going to start at the start and we're going to go into round one, match one, mouth-watering. We have Stephen O'Reilly from the Hillview Club, current national match play champion, semi-finalist on this course in the COVID year. Excellent, steady, rock solid, steady player, answers the important questions when he needs to. And Damien Fleming from Deer Park. Damien, all conquering a couple of years ago, slightly not as prolific as he was, but certainly the best pitcher, consistent pitcher in the game. John, I'm going to start with you. You'll go first for the first half of these games.
Okay.
Call this one.
Well, first of all, before we start, and I'll make this short and brief, this is only for fun. Don't tell anyone. Yes, yeah. And it's been going on for the last couple of years that you've been doing, Frank, and I don't think you've predicted the right result yet in it. So let's all remember that.
Win it every
right?
year and lose.
Let's all remember that. Now, I had a good look at this because I played just in front of Damien Fleming on Sunday in St. Stephen's, and he pitched unbelievable, but putted quite poorly, and he'll tell you that himself. I've watched Stephen O'Reilly in the Munster match play last weekend or 2 weeks ago, and he's been very, very good. Very impressive, and in a round tipper area, I'd say he'll be hard to beat. However, I have to go with Damien Fleming. I think he's one of the best players in the game at this present moment, and I know he was beaten in the first round by Anthony Cullihan down there a couple of years ago when Kieran Earls won it, but I think he won't lose his first round. So Skinner? I'm going for Damien Fleming.
Excellent. Skinner?
Yeah, I'd go with Damien as well, just due to the fact that his pitching ability. But Stephen O'Reilly will be a hard nut to crack. I think he got to the semi-final the last time he was down there.
Yes, he did.
And he's a seriously competitive player. He was very unlucky in the Munster match play. I mean, let's be honest, Jason Cregan got out of jail on the 17th to beat him.
And then on the 15th and a whole one on the 18th. He
kill him. And I mean, but having said that, I mean...
But no one is denying his ability. He's a fabulous player.
As a matter of fact, this match could be a final in itself.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to plug the rankings here. I mean, if you had proper rankings, we wouldn't be having these type of matches. I think that, but having said that, I'll go for Damien, but I honestly think it's 60-40, not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
But I'd have to go with Damien, yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Our next match has the inconsistent Frank Dineen and the young player from Douglas, Owen Keating. Owen was very prolific a couple of years ago, went on three Cork teams in a row, I think. Slightly not reaching the standards that he was a couple of years back, but is putting in some effort. Frank is inconsistent, but could beat anyone, but then could lose to anyone as well. John, your call on this one.
Again, this is a tough one, Frank. I know you're there now. Owen is my club mate. However, Owen has been struggling, as you said, in recent times, and he hasn't won anything and hasn't been around the top three in a lot of competitions recently. So now you can say the same thing about you, Frank. You haven't won in a while. However, I think your experience over the weekend will stand to you, and I think you will beat Owen.
Very good. Skinner?
Yeah, when I was going through these, I put this down as a 50-50 match. But you don't know, is the real Frank Dineen going this morning? No. But if the real Frank Dineen turns up with his pitching, I think he'll take Owen. But Owen hasn't been playing as much. I think college and things like that have been catching up on him for the last couple of years. But and I believe he's county board secretary now. So things like that do affect your game. But having said that, yeah, I think on experience alone, I think Frank will win that game.
Very good. Just having a slight difficulty here on the screen, but we'll move on. So we'll go Frank with both of those just through to the next level. The next match is Avon Carey from Castletown, Irish Open winner a couple of years back, and Declan Mulpeter Senior from Royston. So what's your choices there, John?
Yeah, well, I don't know really. I know Evan. Not that well. I don't know Declan. So really, I'm only going on Evan's what he's won, and as you've already said, it was the Irish stroke play in Tullamore, I think it was. Yeah. So I'd have to go with Evan because I've nothing. I don't know Declan, so I've no. Maybe Skinner can help me out here. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Declan is a very competitive player, and to come out with Kildare, you have to be playing well because you don't get an easy passage down in Kildare.
He beat Sean Harkins in the final night in the qualifying.
Well, Sean Harkins was playing unbelievable pitch and putt at the moment, so I mean that's a good win. But maybe outside of Kildare, he mightn't be as effective. So that's why I would be going. I'd be going for Evan Carey. I think Evan has youth on his side, and I think he's a strong enough player. He hasn't been playing great, but maybe this will be the weekend that he might shine.
Yeah. So we're going
Evan.
Consistently for Evan on this. Okay, 1 second now. The next match is Owen Shannon Collins versus Bernard Moylan from Castletown Club. Bernard Moylan is Noel Moylan's brother, actually. You know Noel from St. Anne's. I think he's Bernard. I don't remember Bernard, but Bernard was there over the years. And but I think my honest reading on this is that Bernard is here for the first time at a national match play finals, and I think he's done well to get here. Owen Shannon is a good Cork player, playing well at the moment, and is would certainly be what I would expect to win at this stage. But your choices, guys.
Yeah, Owen for me as well. I know Owen well. Owen won the Cork stroke play in Douglas last year. A tremendous pitcher, and when he's on his game, he's very, very, very good. So he'd be an outsider to win it for me down in Larkspur.
Very good.
But so I'd go for Owen. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know much about Bernard. Obviously, he's a decent player if he's qualified. But Owen Shannon, I think I've seen him doing well in the Munster match play down there. Did I recently?
No, he didn't. No. He didn't qualify for the match play. But he has been good. He's been very unlucky with draws.
It must have been the national match play I was watching, so because he obviously was that.
Yeah,
he's a very, very solid player. So I'd go for Owen myself personally.
Perfect. Yeah. And this is no disrespect to Bernard, but it's just we've
got
to be
just
realistic
don't know that much
about what we're doing, and it's hard to step up to the top of the game when we don't know you. And I'm sorry, I don't mean that, but when we haven't seen you play, it's going to be a surprise if that happens. The last time that happened was with the Donoghue brothers from St. Patrick's. Nobody really knew who they were, but certainly people knew that they were scratch golfers and knew what the story with that is. Now, a mouth-watering game in the next round. Anthony Culhane, Tipperary Hills. Anthony did very well up in Navan, was joint leader in the stroke play in Navan, but more importantly, in the last time that this was here, beat Damien Fleming in the in the
first round,
the Larkspur or the Larkspur event a couple of years back. And Jason Cregan, double-time Munster match play champion, very impressive last week. Beat Damien Fleming with a 2-1 last. Got out of jail once or twice, but played or beat a plethora of excellent players in Conigar just 2 weeks ago or last week. So, John, your call?
Yeah, again, this is 50-50. However, I'm possibly going. I played with Anthony Culhan down in Hillview a couple of years ago when the Irish Stroke was there, when Mark Miller beat Stephen Shore.
Yeah.
And around Tipperary, he is very, very good.
Yes.
We all know the ability of the young Jason Cregan, two-time champion, Munster champion, as you already said, and he'll take a lot of beating. But I think Anthony will beat him because I think he'll be, once he doesn't, what am I trying to say? As a pitch and putt player, he has the ability to be top of the game, but he doesn't practice enough. I don't think he takes breaks away from the game. So Anthony is back playing as well as ever, and I'd expect him to win. No, it will be close, but he'd be my call. Yeah.
Skinner?
Yeah, again, this is a very, as John said, a 50-50 match. Whichever of them turns up on the day, Anthony Culhane obviously will have, it's not home advantage, but it's certainly more knowledge of the course than Jason would. But Jason has been playing great stuff. Maybe his get out of jail is gone now. You know what I mean? He actually had definitely used up 6 or 7 lives down in the Munster match play. But having said that, he's a top class player. But I think, as John said, Anthony could do him. I'm still 50-50. I'd say I wouldn't have a bet on it. That's the way I'd be thinking on that. But maybe Anthony's knowledge of the course might be a little bit greater than his, and so on that reason, I'll be going for Anthony.
Great, no problem at all.
Frank, you're getting away with murder. You don't have to get involved yet. Yeah.
I'm only the moderator. Wait till we get to the second round. There'll be some, deciding games there that I'll be in on. Right. Ray Murphy, greatest player ever to play the game. We all know his name without question. Francis Feely from Stack Allen is from Navan, or the Navan direction. A good player. I remember his son Kieran Feely beat me in the intermediate version of this the first time it was played. That was in 1990, so that was a couple of years ago. But so John.
Yeah, well, I think honestly, Ray has been hit and miss at the moment in Cork.
Yeah.
He played unbelievably well to beat John in the qualifying rounds of the match play in Fermoy, but he has been struggling before that, and he didn't do a great round in St. Stephen's in the Scratch Cup on Sunday. However, the match play and Ray Murphy, when they come together and when it brings the best out of him, so I think Ray will win. Yeah.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to go along those lines, and I think Ray loves the Larkspur Park course as well.
He won the National Stroke Play in Larkspur Park.
Yeah, he loves Larkspur, and it kind of suits him, and Francis, he's up against it there, but I'm sure he'll give a good account of himself. But I can't see beyond Ray in this match anyway.
Yeah. And to be honest, you mentioned there, John, that when Ray drew John in the national match play, I think that was actually a kickstart to his season, to be very honest. He really put effort in. He was top scorer in the Munster qualifier, the first Cork team trial.
That's right.
He was just about beaten in the Cork match play, where he expected to win the whole thing. So he's definitely coming back to form. We'll come back to him later on. He's still alive in the program. This is a mouth-watering tie. Kieran Earls Bruff, disappointing in Conigar, I thought. Would have been probably one of the favourites to go in there for the Munster match play, beaten in the first round. Hasn't really been seen as much this year as normal, but the last time that it was played here, he was the champion, and he is an Irish match play championship based on his performance around Larkspur Park. Rob O'Donoghue, a prolific talent, maybe yet to be shown at the top of the game, but certainly has the ball striking ability to do anything that you want. You say that you have to have a certain amount of brashness to do well at the top of any sport. He certainly has that, and very interesting game. John, your call here.
Yeah. this now, as well as Stephen O'Reilly and Damien Fleming, is a tremendous first-round match.
Yeah.
Kieran, what a talent, what a player. And Rob, on his day, is capable of beating anyone. He beat me in the Irish Matchplay in Douglas 2 years ago and hammered me.
Mm-hmm.
He played up in Larkspur, I think, with Dennis and in the foursomes and
the national foursomes,
and had the record score or something. Yeah. So I was talking to Rob and played with him in the final 18 in St. Stephen's on Sunday, and is playing very, very, very well, and is looking forward to playing Kieran Earls.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go for my club mate. I'm going to go for Rob.
Skinner.
You really put me in it here. Now, we all know the talent that Kieran Earls brings to the game, but I was watching Rob there. I think I seen him. Did he get to the quarter-final of the Munster Matchplay?
He did.
Semi-final, is it?
Semi-final.
Semi-final. Like, he was playing good stuff. Like, what I've seen, he was playing good stuff. We all know Rob is the Kevin Na of pitch and putt, like, walking in the putts. But he's a great character. Rob's a great character. But Kieran might have too many guns for him, but I wouldn't knock it. I'm actually sitting on the fence on this one. I'd hate to. I know I'm going to have called somebody. I think due to the fact that Kieran has won around the course and obviously likes the course, I'm just going to go for Kieran. But having said that, again, I wouldn't be betting on this. It could go either way.
That was the best decision you made, Skin. You threw it over to Frank. He has to make the decision
this
now.
This is not a good one. Okay, this is... I think Rob is a super talent. His head needs to be in the game to do it, and I think his head is right this year, to be honest. He burst on the scene a couple of years ago, made Cork teams, and was doing things. But Kieran Earls around Larkspur has to be viewed with the impetus that it needs. I mean, he has done it all, and he's done it all on this course. Kieran Earls it is. See, okay. That's my first deciding vote now, and I'll never hear the end of that one either. But anyway, right?
Not Rob anyway.
No. But we can pretend Rob is Kieran as we go on anyway. So right. Ian Dillon, St. Bridget's got to the final here the last time it was in Larkspur Park. They had a great chance up in Bridget's as well, but obviously likes Larkspur Park, probably one of the main Leinster players to play there so well. Thomas Roach from Tralee. I don't know who Thomas Roach from Tralee is. John, your call here.
Yeah, like me, I don't know Thomas Roach either, but I do know Ian Dillon, and what a great player he is. And it was really a pity last year that it was on his own course and he never qualified.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he will take Thomas Roach and put Ian Dillon in. And that's going to be a mouth-watering clash here now, Kieran Earls and Ian Dillon in the next round, but we'll come to that in a while.
We'll come to that in a second, yeah. Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to go for Ian Dillon. I don't know much about Thomas Roach.
Yeah.
We won't go into that one. But anyway, look, it's happy to be Ian Dillon. He's a superb player. His performance in Spain this year was second to none when he won that competition over there. So I'm sure maybe he got a reaction when he's come back, but I'm sure all guns will be fired next week and the weekend when he's playing.
Perfect.
Yeah,
well done, guys. We're flying through this and going good pace, so we'll keep it up. Edward Hennessy from Tramore. Edward, Eddie is a magician around the Waterford courses. Very underrated at the top level. Never really has done it at the top level, but certainly is a strong player and brilliant game all round. And Chris Scannell. Now, Chris Scannell won the national matchplay in Larkspur Park, admittedly about 10-12 years ago, but he beat J.R. Crangill in the final that year in a horrendous way. If Chris can overcome his putting woes, he will take a lot of stopping in this championship all round. But his putting woes are his putting woes. John, your call on this one.
Well, I know both of them well. Eddie, as you said, around Waterford, Tramore, he's won the Scratch Cup about 10 or 12 times. And in Conagary, he's won it about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Tremendous talent, but never seemed to bring it further than or outside of Waterford. Chris, I was talking to Chris last week, and he is playing well. Even with his bad putting, he's pitching unbelievable and is looking forward to Larkspur. So I am going for Chris Scannell. Yeah.
Skinner?
Yeah, I think Chris's experience at this level will stand to him. maybe as you, I don't know much about us putting woes, or we've all had them in our time. But having said that,
still have them.
Nah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I still have them.
I know. Frank doesn't suffer with that. He's other diseases.
Other problems.
He's other areas to redefine.
Many
but
problems.
Eddie Hennessy had top class players. But just on Chris's ability alone, I think Chris just might have too many guns for him. So I'll be going for Chris.
Very good. See, making my life easy. Okay. Mark Miller, Killinear, and won the national stroke play in around the corner in Hillview a couple of years ago. Twice winner of the national match play. Top player. It depends on how much effort he's putting in, but certainly one of the most natural talents in the game. Keith Redmond, haven't seen him in a while, was doing very well in Dublin the last couple of years. Skinner will have more information on this. John, your call.
Well, I played Keith in the Irish Matchplay last year, and I was lucky to get through that round. I won 3-2, and I played very, very well to beat him. And I see that he was semi-finalist of the Leinster Matchplay this year.
Yeah.
So we all know Mark Miller and his ability. But again, I'm going to go for Keith. So I think he's put in an awful lot of effort. I was talking to a fellow work of his, Paddy Noonan, and so so I think Keith will beat Mark.
Good stuff. Skinner?
Yeah, we all know Mark Miller's ability. I mean, there's probably nobody better in the game when he's on fire. I mean, when he catches fire, there's just no stopping him. He's an absolutely machine when he starts. Keith Redmond, I actually played 2 rounds with Keith last Saturday, and he played quite well in his second round. He drove up from Offaly to have a game with us, and he shot an 11 under a 3 and 8. So in the second round, he played exceptionally well. He's back into the game now. He drifted away for a few years. He's playing a bit of golf. Now he's back playing, and he's had a few very good wins, and he's won a couple of scratch cups, and he's done well down in the area. Having said that, if Mark Miller shows up at the top of his game, Mark Miller can beat anybody in this game when he's on top form. I mean, he's probably one of the best players of one of the greats of the game. But it depends on which Mark Miller. If Mark Miller shows up in top form, he probably will win. But again, Frank, I'm going to leave this one to you, because I honestly could not distinguish between the two of them. They're both top class players, good friends of mine, but it's a 50-50 match as far as I'd be concerned.
So I get to the deciding vote again. I think Mark Miller is a class above, and I think if the right Mark Miller shows up, he wins it, so he gets my vote. See, my life is easy. Right, I get all the criticism then, you see, because boys...
No, I'm going first. I'm going to get all the criticism.
Yeah, that's fine too. Right. Chris Gallagher-Lucan versus Alan Hobart from Tralee. Chris Gallagher, Dublin intercounty player. Alan, I think, is a Kerry intercounty player, at least on the periphery of the Kerry team. Has done very well in the Tralee Scratch Cups and some local events. Chris would have more experience nationally. John?
Yeah, I agree. Chris is a tremendous player. Captain the Dublin intercounty team, the one in Lucan last year. Has been around the scene for a long time, and a tremendous player. Alan has been there for the last couple of years in and about the Kerry team, but he's under the shadow of Fleming and Cregan. I can't see him giving Chris a game, so I think Chris will win here comfortably enough, I think, yeah.
Okay. Skinner?
Okay. Yeah, Chris is a tremendous player, you know. He's known now. He's been knocking on the door for a few years. He's certainly no stranger to doing well in the match play. He got to the quarterfinal a couple of times. Alan Hubbard, did he win the Kerry's match play this year?
I think he did. He could have.
I think he beat Damien Fleming in the final.
On the 40th hole in the playoff.
Is that correct?
In Deer Park, yeah.
Yeah, so, in Deer Park. So, I mean, that's a nice thing to have on your belt, you know. But having said that, I think it'll be a tough match for obviously for both players. But I'd have to go with my own clubmate Chris. I think he just has that little bit of might have a little bit more experience at this level than Alan. But again, it won't be an easy match. But I'll go for Chris.
Makes it easy for me. Okay, James Ryan Bruff versus David Campbell Trim. The last time the match play was in Larkspur Park, James Ryan got to, I think, the quarterfinals. He beat me after I beat JR. So very good around Larkspur Park. Was a member there in the past and knows his way. Changes allegiance to Limerick, but is from that neck of the woods. And David Campbell from Trim. We know David from his exploits out foreign more than locally. I do anyway, Skinner. So, John, your call here.
I don't know David Campbell, and I'm sorry, but I do know James. James is part of the Limerick Inter-County team in the last recent years. A very good player. As you said already, I think he is from Tipperary originally. So, I'm short and sweet here. I have to go for James Ryan.
Skinner?
Yeah, I know James Ryan. He's a very good player. And in the last couple of years, David Campbell has come along and he's playing very good stuff down in Meath at the moment. And I'm actually going to throw on a spanner in the works here and go for David Campbell because I just think he's playing well enough. He's hungry enough. Very good player. At this level, I don't know how he's going to perform, but hopefully he'll perform to the best of his ability. I know James Ryan's a tremendous player, but I'll go for David Campbell.
Very good. Just to give me more work to do. No, James Ryan around Larkspur Park is very good. He's very solid. I don't even make any mistakes. And that's what you need to get the first round of the match play against the guy. It's hard for the Leinster guys coming down, Skinner, because this is a Munster
I understand
course,
that.
and that's the reason why I'm going for James Ryan. Okay. John Farrell, one of the Farrell dynasties, again from Limerick, and Dennis Monaghan from Shandon. Dennis, a good, had been around a long time, knows, vastly experienced. John.
Yeah, I know both of them. John is a very good player, but I'm going back to last year. Dennis played JR in Bridget's in the match play, and JR caught him on the last. I think Dennis was ahead of him for so long, and I think this year he played in the qualifying rounds of the match play. I think he 4 down with 5 to play or something, and he got through Skinner. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, he was actually 3 down with 6 to play.
Okay, so
he won on a tie hole. So
yeah, and Dennis be my age, so I'd be shouting for the old fella. So I'm going to go for Dennis here.
Okay. Yeah, well, I know Dennis Monaghan as long as I know any of you two. So, realistically, John Farrell, I don't know much about John Farrell. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. So on that. Now, I'm sure he's a decent player coming from Bruff.
Yeah. He is.
They're very decent players down there. I mean, them fellas are top class. I mean, there's a handful of them there, and they're absolutely great players. But having said that, I think Dennis's experience might just get him through the first round.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Next match, Michael Fennell from Lakeside. Michael, very good around Tipperary, multiple Scratch Cup winner, very consistent, very doyen of the Tipperary Intercounty team, and Mark Newman from Rutherford Bridge. There was talkings during the week of people looking to bet on Mark Newman to beat Michael Farrell in the first round. So obviously Leinster fancied this chap, and he had the bookie running for the hills, and he was saying, "No, I don't know anything about this. I'm not putting any prices up for this one." So, John, your call here.
Well, I don't know Mark Newman at all, but I did, and I did meet Michael last Sunday. He came up for the St. Stephen's Scratch Cup, and he fared quite well. In fairness, I think he finished 5th.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good player, and
very
again, I keep
player.
on.
Very streaky player.
Yeah, and I think he won Fermoy there last year. He had 23 or 24 under or something, or 2 years ago. But he's a tremendous player, a nice guy. And again, these Tipperary guys around Tipperary, they're different gravy. Yeah. So I think Michael Fennell will win.
Skinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't know much about Mark Newman. I know a little bit about him. He's been on the scene now for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. He's doing quite well. I think he's won a couple of Scratch Cups in the Leinster area. Again, I don't think he'd have the experience to beat Michael Fennell. Michael Fennell's a tremendous player. I mean, he in the Intercounty in Lucan last year, he was excellent. And he's a very, very competent player. And as John said, he's won Scratch Cups against in Cork, and I mean, if you can go down to Cork and win a scratch cup, you can play.
Yeah.
So on that, I'd be going on for Michael. But again, Mark Newman is a top player, and I'm sure he'll gain a lot of experience, particularly playing Michael Dennell. But
again,
I just have to go for Michael.
Tough for the Leinster players to come down, but yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Right. Dean Granell, St. Patrick's versus Damien Creevy, Lucan. Damien won the World Tour event up in what's the name of the place? Up in
Rincommon
last year. Seems to love Rincommon for some reason. Every time there's nothing there, he's right in the mix of it. And Dean Granell, experienced player from St. Patrick's, very colourful character if his shoes are anything to go by, and very good player as well. I think this is a very 50-50 game. John, your call.
Yeah, it is very, very 50-50 game. I haven't seen Damien in the winning enclosure for a while this year anyway. So now last year he was brilliant on the Dublin team for the Intercounty and Lucan. Dean has been always on playing. He's out of Pats, isn't he, Dean?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. It's 50-50, but I think I'll go for Dean because I know Skinner's going to go for Damien, and I'm thinking ahead. I want Frank to get involved a bit more.
I'm not nailed on for Damien here because I was with him over the weekend, and he was struggling. He said he's struggling. Yeah. He's struggling a bit with his pitching, So
yeah,
but Dean Granell is a top player now, lads. Let's be honest, he's a top player. He's been knocking on the door a long time now, and he's doing well in a lot of tournaments, winning a few scratch cups, does well in Leinster's. I don't know, at national level, I don't think I've actually seen him doing much, but having said that, he's a very good player. But Damien is Damien. If Damien finds his pitching, I mean, Larkspur is a tough course to play if you're not pitching well. So, I don't know. I'm going to leave this one to Frank, 50-50.
This is murder. Okay, the little birdies were saying to me that Damien Creevy, his pitching is not doing good at the moment, right? And form is temporary and class is permanent, but form is also important if you're playing the match play in 2 weeks' time. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Dean Granell, and Dean will bring a bit of colour to the game anyway, if nothing else. Michael Darcy, Ardna Chelly's young lad, played in the Munster match play down in Conagher last week, and Sean Goggin, who got to the final of the Leinster match play, was beaten in the final there. Sean won Scratch Cups over the weekend as well, top player, got to the final of the match play in Lucan, hasn't really performed as well since, but also got to the quarterfinals of this the last time it was in Larkspur Park. I know the 18 holes is a bit of a misnomer, but Sean is good around this place too. So, John, your call.
Yeah, last year was an eye-opener how poor Sean played, I think, especially in the match play. I think he was beaten in the first round by Tom Lynch. I spoke to him and he said he possibly didn't practice as much on previous years. Now, the way he started this year, he must be practicing because he won Killenair Scratch Cup last week by a number of shots. Mm-hmm. Michael Darcy, I know Michael, a lovely fella, nice player, was going in and out of senior grade into intermediate for a while. Actually, I think he was in the intermediate stroke play up in Navan. Mm-hmm. But he's a good senior player, solid senior player, but I can't see past Sean Goggins. Sean Goggins should beat him, I think. So I'm going for Sean Goggins here.
Skinner?
Yeah, I don't know much about Michael Darcy. Obviously, he's a decent enough player to be there from Ardna Crutcha coming out of down there. But having said that, Sean Goggins seems to be in a little bit better form than he was at this, as John said, this time last year. Yeah. He got beaten in the final of the Leinster match play, and Eamon Gibney played great stuff. So on the farm, definitely I'll be going for Sean Goggin. And with his experience, I mean, he won the national stroke play in Rincommons, and he won a Leinster stroke play in, I think it was in Trim that year. So he won the Leinster match play the same year. So he had a kind of a fantastic year 2 years ago. Maybe a little bit of a lull last year, but certainly I think he'll be challenging over the weekend. So we're going for Sean Goggin.
Good stuff. Right. We're on to the second half of the first section. So pace is good. We need to keep it going though, because we've time limits to set.
Right.
Stephen Shore, national stroke play champion, #1 in the country at the moment, playing all day, all night, and all midnight, and in the dark and everything.
Cut the greens when he's doing it.
Yeah, exactly. He cuts the greens and then he puts on them. And Jamie Blake, he never puts on slow greens, I'd say, because he cuts them all just before he plays them and rolls them
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Anyway, and Jamie Blake from Tralee, very good player in Tralee as well. Obviously, Tony's young lad, very, very good player as well. John, your call.
Again, you have to go for Stephen Shore. He's one of the favourites for the tournament for the weekend. Everyone knows what he's won, and a big, big danger man over the weekend. Jamie's been playing well. Was down in the Munster match play. I don't know what did he qualify for. I think he did. He was in the first round beaten. You might know that, Frank.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was beaten in the first round. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Stephen will be too strong for him. So it's Stephen Shore for me.
Very good. Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to be on the same lines as that. Jamie Blake, obviously a young lad coming through, and he'll gain a lot of experience over the weekend. But he's up against a monster in Stephen Shore. I mean, this man is playing absolutely unbelievable pitch and putt. And his dedication to the game is second to none.
Yeah.
And as Frank, it looks like he has his own private course down there. He just seems to play anytime. And I mean, he does, and he's great for the game, and he's a lovely person.
Oh, yeah.
And he's absolutely on top of his game at the moment. So, and he's dedicated to it. So I can't see any chinks. I mean, we could be even talking about the winner here. You know, it's possible he could be a winner here. You know,
we'll come to
overall.
that. We'll come to that in a minute. I must say, Riverdale. Every time they take a photo of Riverdale, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
us mere mortals who have to play on real courses envy that. Okay. Now, this next game is very interesting, and I think is a slight possible banana skin, right? Dahi Sexton is the most improved player over the last couple of years, has really stepped up, won the Cork Matchplay in St. Anne's, which is no mean feat, beating all the top players on his way. He had an easy one the semi-final against Frank. Had an easy one the semi-final against me, but to beat John around St. Anne's when the wind is blown is some achievement. Lost to John Cal down in Conagara, but I know he fancied that, to be honest. But playing again morning, noon, and night, superb player. But Brian Cahill is very handy around Larkspur Park. There was an Irish Open qualifier there 2 years ago, and he was leading qualifier with 19 under for 36 holes. And he is very, very good and very streaky, especially around the Tipperary courses. You'd have to have Dahi as favourite, but Brian Cahill could be a banana skin here, and Dahi's got to be careful of that. John, your call.
Yeah, well, you said it all there, Frank. I played Dahi in the Cork match play, and he beat me. But it's the manner in which he beat me. I think he was 13 under for 17 holes against me, and he's so streaky. He's shot up in the rankings. He's in the top 10 in Ireland. Very, very good player. So is Brian Callan. I reiterate what I've just said about the Tipperary players going around Larkspur. They're hard to beat down there. It's a close game, but I'm cutting it short again. I think Dahill will win.
Skinner?
Yeah, I actually watched that final that he played in Cork this year. I think he played John in the final.
Yeah.
He had a shot in the breeze to the 18th in St. Anne. And, well, the breeze, I mean, it was a win. It was a hurricane. Frankie could hardly hold that phone steady when you were doing it. Yeah. And, it was an unbelievable shot. And John had a good shot in. But, I mean, that obviously will be a boost to his confidence. He's a very, very strong player over the past couple of, as you said, most improved player in the last couple of years. So Brian Cahill again, top, as John says, the Tipperary lads are dangerous in their own areas, in their own county. But I'd have to go for Dahi on current form anyway.
Very good. Right. Now, next game, Ian Farley, Bellewstown, beat Eamon Gibney in the qualification rounds up in Laytown. Ian Farley, very steady player of over many years. Derry McCarthy making a comeback for 20 years ago. He won the national match play down in Deer Park, and I don't think he's entered it since. Well, he's entered it every year, but this is the first time he's made the finals. I don't think he plays a whole lot. You've got to say that you have to be playing the game to really be competitive, and I know Ian will be competitive. John, your call on this one? I don't expect you this to be a long conversation.
No, I know both, and both lovely fellas, great ambassadors for the game. And I don't know what way to call it, to be quite honest. But I think, as you say, with Ian playing more regularly than Derry, even though Derry on his day way back then was fabulous, but I'll have to go with Ian. I'll cut it short. I'll go with Ian.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'd be the same. I'd go with Ian, mainly due to the fact that he's more competitiveness in under his belt than Derry would over the last few years. I think Derry plays a lot of golf, but having said that, he was a tremendous player, and still, I don't know, he still could produce the goals. But Ian Farley, I believe, in the match against Eamon Gibney down in, I think that was in Laytown, was an absolutely cracker of a game. So he absolutely destroyed Eamon. And man, if you can destroy Eamon in Laytown, you're playing well.
Yeah.
Former European champion, as I always call him. Anyway, he won the European Championships a good few years ago. Yeah, but a lovely fella. Both lovely people, and great, as John said, great ambassadors for the game. But on current form, and I can only go on current form, I'd be going for Ian Farrelly.
I think, wouldn't Derry McCarthy be a huge bonus playing pitch and putt to the Kerry team? Because they could really do with a Derry McCarthy, to the voice of experience, somebody in there to bring them over the line. And he's a loss to the game that he doesn't play as much as he used to, but he's in the field, and there's plenty of people would love to be in the field. John's sitting at home watching it and twiddling his thumbs. And
don't forget, now he was very much involved last year with his young fella over in Spain, if you remember, Frank. And he was well up for it, and as you said, his experience is tremendous. And I don't know why the likes of the Kerry people and the Kerry County Board are not using the likes of him to bring their players along,
Yeah.
And they're going to be hard. They're going to be hard to beat in the Munster and the County Down in Kerry. And if they have Derry McCarthy on that team, that it's going to be so difficult for any other team.
Playing Derry McCarthy, right? Dennis Hill from Tullamore and William Buckley Jr. in Erie. It's almost like a local derby brought down to Lakeside. William Buckley Jr. past stroke play champion, got to the semi-final 2 years ago. Super player, great pitcher of the ball. John, your call.
Don't know Dennis, I'm sorry, but I do know Willie and Billy Buckley. He'll be too strong, I presume, because on his day, Billy Buckley is a tremendous player. As you said, semi-final down in
Douglas,
lost to Barry Morrissey in Douglas, and he qualified last year in Bridget's again. He seems to be qualifying every year and has a chance every year. So I can see him going a lot further here as well in this section. So I'm going for Billy Buckley.
Skinner?
Yeah, I don't know much about Dennis Hill as well, but I certainly know plenty about William Buckley. But he's a tremendous player. If he puts, he can go a long way in this tournament. I mean, he probably is. I know a lot of people say Damien Fleming is the top pitcher in Ireland. Willie Buckley would be a close second to him.
Yeah.
So, but again, if he puts, he'll go a long way, and I'd have to go for William in that match.
Very good. Paddy Noonan, I'm absolutely delighted to see Paddy Noonan in this event. He put so much effort into the game. He really is a star in the making. He cuts across his putts and pulls them all left, but I don't know whether the John O'Leary out in Douglas should say that to him or not. But great player. DJ Lynch, fantastic around Larkspur Park. Really strong local player. Good player, won the Scotch Cup there. He beat me in the Scotch Cup there a couple of years back. Very, very good around there. John, your call.
Yeah, I know Paddy well. Club mate, played with me in the foursomes in the leagues. Has the ability to do great rounds, but has another ability that his chipping would leave him down, or his putt would leave him down, and he's not as consistent as he should be. However, I played with him in St. Stephen's last week. His score didn't actually prove what he was better than the score that he'd done. Really looking forward to the weekend that's in it.
Yeah.
And now we all know DJ Lynch.
Yeah.
He's been around a long, long time. And again, I've seen it, the Tipperary fellas around here. But I think Paddy will give him a game. And I'm going for my clubmate, Paddy Noonan here.
That's it, John.
Skinner? You put me on a spot here. Like, Paddy used to be a clubmate of mine back in not too long ago, you know. We called Paddy the Chipper Noonan, like, you know. So a bit like, we should be calling Frank the Chipper Dineen as
that's what I was going to say. He'd be calling me the Chipper, but for different reasons. Go on.
DJ Lynch, I don't know that much about DJ. He's very experienced player. I know that, but
he's very good. Yeah.
As you said, I'd love to see Paddy Noonan doing well. He's a lovely fella. He's a great ambassador for the game. He knocks on the door all the time. He enters everything. He plays and everything. And like, I mean, sometimes you get your reward for doing this. So I'd be hoping that Paddy Noonan. I know he's going to be very difficult to beat beat the chap from Tipperary Hills in Tipperary. But having said that, I'd be hoping Paddy Noonan will win that game. So I'll be going for Paddy Noonan.
Oh, well done. That's good. Who said local favoritism doesn't matter? Right. Jim Judge from McBride. We all know Jim. Jim got to the semi-final last year, pre-qualified for this. Leonard O'Mara from Erie. Leonard is a super player and has been for many years. John, your call?
Again, I don't know Leonard at all, so but I do know Jim. Had tremendous match play up in Bridget's last year. As I said, he got to the semi-final. I think that was a surprise to him that he got so far last year. But a member of the Loudoun to County team normally plays with Mark. I think that was the pairing that they had up in Lucan. So with me not knowing Leonard that well, I'll just have to go with Jim Judge.
Skinner, you know.
Yeah, I'll be going for Jim Judge as well. Leonard's a tremendous player and does very well in scratch cups and that around the Leinster area. But Jim is a very, very, very competent match play player, as he proved last year. I think he beat JR in the quarter final when everyone would have expected him to be hammered. And like Jim played, I think he beat Ray Murphy in that interprovincial in McDonough last year. So Jim is a tremendous match play player. So I'll be going for Jim Judge.
Very good. Leonard O'Mara, I remember playing in practice behind him in Castle Island one year. I don't know what it was in, but it was practice. I think we were going to Tralee the same day, before the event, and he must have pitched 10 holes in a row to inside 6 inches. He was awesome in Castle Island practice. Super player. Right. Darren McKenna from Killinear versus Jason Larkin from Portmarnock. Heard of the names? Obviously I know Jason Larkin. Jason is an intercounty player as well. Darren, I think, is allowed intercounty player. Don't know him that well, but John, you're going to have to help me out here. Well, Skinner's going to have to help us out here as well.
Yeah. I know Darren to see, but I've never actually seen him play. I've seen Jason play. I think Jason's Portmarnock, isn't he? But as you say, former Dublin county team, very, very, very good player. And that again, when you've nothing to judge it on, I just have to go with Jason Larkin. Sorry about that, but
Skinner, you're going to have to give us a steer on this.
Well, I actually don't know that much about Darren McKenna, but I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't be familiar with him, But obviously, he's a decent enough player to come out loud. Jason is he's an absolutely brilliant player on his game, but as most people are anyway. But I think the hunger that Jason has for the game might just get him through that match. I think he might just have that little bit of an edge on Darren McKenna. I don't remember seeing his name ever appeared in any of these competitions before. So I think that Jason would just have too many guns for him. So I'll be going for Jason Larkin.
Great. Okay. And onward we go. Right. Stephen Murray, Dublin intercounty player, has done it all. Basically, multiple Dublin match play champions, Dublin championships. I think he did well in the Leinster championship as well. Got to quarterfinals in national match play a number of times as well. Peter O'Donovan from St. Anne's used to be from Bishopstown. Peter is a streaky player as well, has done well in the match play, got to the semi-final last year, was unlucky in the semi-final last year, ran out of steam, I think. He was a bit tired. Was playing morning, noon and night at the start of the year, and we haven't seen him in the last couple of months. So it's hard to say what form he's in at the moment. John?
Yeah, Peter had a tremendous year last year, as you said, semi-final of the Irish Matchplay, beaten in the Cork Matchplay final by John. A very, very good player. But as you say, we haven't seen much of him. Played in the leagues this year with St. Anne's, his new club. Did perform okay, but not to what the ability what he played in last year. So we all know Stephen Murray. I think he won a Scratch Cup there last week or 2 weeks ago, and the scores that he's doing around Dublin, by all accounts, is tremendous. So and a lovely guy, both of them are. But I think Stephen will win. Yeah.
Skinner.
Yeah, I'd be going for Stephen in this one. Peter O'Donovan, I've watched him over the last few years, and I think he done well in Irish ropes as well, or down in Royston.
Damien Fleming said it was the toughest game he ever played, ever.
That was in the semi-final, I think, wasn't it? It was an absolutely cracker of it, or quarter-final. It was a cracker. I actually watched it. But having said that, like, as you said, he hasn't been playing much. I don't think he'd been going to these championships without having the practice and the work done on your game, you know. So Stephen I'd say Stephen is up there with Eamon Gibney as one of the best putters in the game. And if he gets his pitching going at all down there, Stephen will go a long way. So I'd be going for Stephen Murray.
Yeah, Peter's a super player, good pitcher of the ball, but motivation is important in these things. You have to be competitive. You have to be fighting for your games, and that's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Gary Healy, Loughlinstown. We all know Gary, intercounty player, did well in the match play over the last couple of years. George Beardsley from McBride. George is around a long time, has been playing consistently well. John.
Yeah, I know both of them well. George would be around my era. Good player.
Yeah, go on.
Not many that old.
But yeah, he's a very good player, good match player. We all know the ability. We all know the ability of Gary Healy. However, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works, and I'm going to go for the old fella again. I'm going to go for George.
Well, nobody lacks as much nobody has as much confidence in their own ability as Gary. Let's be honest, and he's a tremendous player. George won't be overawed by taking on Gary. So it's to me it's a 50-50 match, but just I think Gary might just have that little bit more going for him at the moment than George. But George can really play. He got to the semi-final the last 1 year up there in I think Darren Collins won it in Sea Point.
That's right.
He beat Ray in the final.
Yeah.
And George was absolutely unbelievable. I think Darren had 2 hole-in-ones back to back.
Yeah, 2 hole-in-ones and 3 holes. Yeah. So
to kind of get back right into the game. But having said that, I'd be going for Gary.
So that means it's a vote for me. All right, thanks, guys. No, I'm great for Hals with George Beardsley. He's one of the most honest and straightforward guys in the game. But Gary's putting in the effort. I think he's putting in the graft, and for that reason, and because he beat me in Royston, I'm putting Gary down as the winner here. Right. Barry Morrissey, the man with the I actually love Barry Morrissey. He says he's going to take me out in the revolution that's to come, but anyway, there's a long list there. Anyway, Barry Morrissey, Matchplay champion 2 years ago, out of what an enigma in the game, brilliant over years and years and years. And it has to be said, the form man at the moment, Owen Walsh, is winning Scratch Cups like they're going out of fashion. Every week, shooting consistent scores and doing really, really well and holding his leads and holding his competitions. Won Collins's and St. Stephen's in 2 out of 3 weeks. Bit disappointing down in Cunningar. He has gone into Matchplay championships as one of the strong favourites, and hasn't really performed once or twice in the past, but this is a great opportunity for him. John, you're going to call this. You know Barry well.
I know both of them well. I played with Owen around Collins's in the final 18 2 weeks ago. As you say, the scoring he's doing is phenomenal around Cork, and he's won 3 of the last 4 Scratch Cups, I think.
Yeah.
Barry played so well in St. Stephen's last week. He 10 under, and didn't play in the final 18, needs some place to go to. But again, it just shows that he's coming into form as well. Barry is a tremendous match player. Owen has got to the final of the Irish Matchplay down in Claycastle. He was beaten by
Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So we all know, and they know what it takes to get that far into the Monday morning. So it's going to be a close game. However, I have to go really with Owen Walsh.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'd be thinking along the same lines. I've been just watching what's been going on down there over the last few weeks, down in Munster and down in Cork in particular. I mean, Owen Walsh has been shooting the lights out down there. Some of his is phenomenal. He's winning competitions with 3 and 4 shots, and he's playing very well. But again, Barry, it'll be no easy. You won't stand on the first tee and beat Barry. You'll learn every hole you win against him. But on current form, I have to go with Owen Walsh.
Very good. Right, the Battle of the Toms. Tom Hanley from Bruff, inter-county player, well known to us all, has at the peripheries of the top ranks of the game for years and is super well. Beat Liam O'Donovan to get this far, to qualify. And Tom Lynch, best chipper in the game. I'll say that now. I'd love to emulate him. 2 boys, very good, very tight. Tom probably not playing as much as I think he'd like, but can be very good. Won a good game against Gary O'Sullivan to get here. John?
Yeah, know both of them well. Tommy, vice captain of me on the Munster team this year. Lovely guy. Tom Lynch was a member of ESB Ballinlough where I was, and now he's up in Collins's. Tom got to the quarter final of this down in Larkspur the last time he was there. When I know because I had him backed.
Yeah.
But he won. He beat Sean Goggins in the first round in the match last year. So he's a dangerous guy. Like, so on that alone, if Tom is if he's practicing, I don't know, is he? But if he's practicing as much as he should do, he'd go far here as well. So I'm going for Tom Lynch here.
Skinner?
Yeah, I know both the lads. They're very competent players. Tom Lynch was away from the game for a while. I think he was playing a bit of golf or something. But having said that, Tommy Hanley is an absolutely gem of a player. I think on his game, he's absolutely brilliant player. And obviously playing out of Bruff, I mean, you have to be on your game to do anything down there. But I'm going to go for Tommy Hanley.
Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, look, I think Tommy Lynch is playing and he's a good guy, but Tommy Hanley, I think Larkspur Park's going to play a spot in this. I'm going for Tommy Hanley. Right, move on. Owen Aylward, who had a fantastic Munster match play down in Cunnagar last week, and John McGrath from Deer Park, very solid Kerry player, consistently on their intercounty team, does well in stroke plays. Haven't seen him too much in match plays doing well, but did well a couple of years ago in this one. I think it was Tullamore he got to the quarterfinals at least. So, John.
Yeah, I wasn't in Cunnagar, but I watched it on Facebook, mostly your coverage, Frank, and I saw Owen play there, and I don't know him, but I was quite impressed the way he played. I know John, but he hasn't been playing as much. He mustn't be, because I haven't heard anything of him recently, except for qualifying for this. So I'm cutting it nice and short and sweet here. So I'm going to go for Owen, been in form, qualifying and getting to the semi-finals of the Munster Matchplay. I'll go for him to win here.
Stuff, Skinner.
Yeah, I must have been watching the same program as you. John, Owen Aylward, he actually impressed me with the way he played that day. He was very good, or over that weekend.
Yeah.
And again, John McGrath hasn't been in the limelight for this during this season. Anyway, he's a tremendous player. But I'd go for Owen, particularly the fact it's in Tipperary probably will stand to him.
Good stuff. We'll keep going. We have to make up some time. George McGreel, Old County, fantastic.
Wait till half past. Sorry, Skinner, I'm under pressure here. Go on, sorry.
Yeah. We'll get it done. George McGreel, Old County, fantastic player, Dublin Intercounty player, best chipper in the game. Himself and Tom Lynch are going to take each other on. Pat Martin, a local Tipperary player, doing well to get to the qualification rounds of this. John?
George, for me, would have too much. I don't really know that Pat Martin, but George, that would be too much. George is a tremendous player, part of the Dublin Inter-County team, as you say. So, yeah, and what a tremendous player he is. He'll be too good for Pat, I would think. So I'm going for George.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to go with the same lines as John there. I mean, George has been ultra consistent. I mean, over the past 5 years, he's probably the best player in Dublin and one of the top players in Leinster over the past 5 years. So don't know much about Pat Martin. I wish him well, but I'd be going for George.
Great. Tough game, this one. Liam Myers. Anybody who can play with Frank Dineen in the leagues and pitch for him has to be a good player. That's all I have to say. Liam, if this is close, coming down the wire, there's nobody better than Liam Myers. And I'll say that now. But Eamon Gibney, you know, he has to be up there with one of the greatest players not to have won a national at this stage, even though he did win an Irish Open. He's super awesome in Leinster match play last week, and a recipient of the qualification to the event because of this. And that's a good step forward for the game. Eamon has to be one of the favourites to win the event outright. John?
Yeah, Liam beat me. And beat me on the last. And you're right what you're saying. The longer and the closer the game went on, the better Liam got.
Yeah.
A deserving winner against me. Eamon Gibney, we all know Eamon, lovely guy. Had an opportunity in Douglas. I think he was 4 or 5 up with a couple of holes to go, and he's beaten in the 7 up. Yeah. So it was an opportunity lost by him, but. Yeah, and what he's done, he beat Goggins in the Leinster match this year. So I'm sorry, Liam, good and all that he is, I'll have to go for Eamon Gibney.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'll be the same. I'd go for Eamon Gibney. Liam again, I know Liam is a tremendous player, but Eamon, to me, he's probably in the top 3 putters in the country. He's an absolutely unbelievable. If he gets his putting going around Larkspur, he'll be dangerous for the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. I'd expect him to do well. Again, he's up against it with Liam, but as Frank says, if it gets tight, but hopefully, hopefully Eamon will get a few up and it doesn't get as tight as Frank might be expecting it to be. But it's no foregone conclusion, but I'd have to go for Eamon.
Very good. Paddy O'Sullivan, Majestic, one of the foreign players for the last 2 years, to be honest. Really coming into his own, putting real effort in, super player. His putting has improved an awful lot. And Darren Keogh from Royston. Darren works, we know Darren, the effort and promotion he puts into the game. Very strong player on the Kildare team. John?
Yeah, I know both of them well, but Paddy has been shooting the lights out for the last year and a half, has shot up the rankings up. I think he's in the top 6 or 7. I think he finished 4th in the Irish Stroke in Riverdale, finished the last 80 holes. The last 36 holes of his 54 with tremendous score. Has been knocking on the door here in Scratch Cups in Cork. He won up in Rock Lodge. Yeah, tremendous to have him back from the game because he went away for a good couple of years. No Darren as well. Great inter-county player, as you say, but I think Paddy will have practiced around Larkspur, and I think he'll be too strong for Darren on the day. So I'm going for Paddy.
Paddy was there Monday. Yeah, Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to go along the same lines as that. I think Paddy has been playing great stuff over the last couple of years. I've just seen some of his performances, and they're tremendous. As John said, he won the Scratch Cup in Rock Lodge earlier on in the year. Darren, I don't think plays as much as he would like to. He's so much involved, running the club and involved in county board and things like that. But having said that, Paddy, I think, will have too many guns for Darren. I think Paddy could be. I mean, we won't go to the next match, but the winner obviously meets whoever wins the next match. And I mean, I tell you one thing: there's some tremendous second round games coming up there. If who we tipped goes through, I'll go for Paddy.
We'll quickly go through those. Gavin Carroll Tralee and John Cahill from Fermoy. Don't know Gavin. John Cahill, twice beaten finalist last 2 years, seeded number 2. Superb, consistent player throughout the whole thing. John?
Yeah, not taking anything away from Gavin. I know him, all right, but I wouldn't know much about his game. But we all know John Cahill, my foursome partner for the Cork team. Tremendous player, has got to the final in the last 2 years. Should have possibly won both, he'd tell you, but he didn't. That's the pitch and putt. Won in Cunningar last week, so he's coming into form at the right time. John Calla has to be.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to go along the same lines. I don't know much about Gavin Carroll, but he's up against a monster in John Cattle. I mean, John Cattle is a tremendous player. Probably, as John said, he probably should have won the last two, but he didn't. So, I mean, you get your opportunities, you need to take them. I'm sure he'd be putting in the effort again. He won last weekend in Cunningar, so I'd be going for John Cattle.
Very good. Right, guys, we're going to quickly go through the next bet now because we've come up with a winner and we're under time pressure because Mr. O'Leary here has us under pressure. Right.
Yeah.
This has to be the match of the century. Damien Fleming, Frank Dineen.
Yeah. Well, if Damien gets through Stephen, which we said he would, he will have to have played well. Yeah. And his game would have to be right. I think both of you will be tuned up for this match, Frank. But I'd have to go for Damien. So I won't say any more about that, but I have to go for Damien. And you're looking at me here now and shaking your head, but that's the right
thing. Skinner?
I think, Frank, if Damien beats Stephen, right, I think he'll beat you. And provided he doesn't get caught up in the game too much and tries too hard to beat you. But I honestly think he's just a tremendous player. Like, let's be honest, anyone playing Damien will have to be on the very top of their game. But I'll just say I'll go for Damien.
Right, he's different gravy at the moment. The way he played in Cunningar. Right, Evan, I totally disagree, but we'll come back to that. Right, Evan Carey, Owen Shannon.
Owen Shannon will win here, I think, because as I said, I think he's my dark horse.
Yeah.
And I think he'll beat Evan. If Owen's game is on, he'll be a match for anyone. So it's Owen Shannon for me.
Skinner?
Yeah, I think I'll go along with Owen Shannon there as well. I mean, Evan is a tremendous player, as we know, but I think that Owen Shannon might just have too many guns for him at this stage of his career.
Another cracking match, and Sunday morning is going to be superb up here. Anthony Culhane versus Ray Murphy.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough. Like, I go back the last time I was there. Ray beat Brian O'Flynn, I think, in the fifth tie hole.
Yes.
Now on history, on if you're going on past history, Ray Murphy would win easily. However, Anthony Culhane around Tipperary is going to be a big danger horse, I think. So I'll go Anthony Culhane. Ray won't be happy with me. I'm going with Anthony Culhane.
Skinner?
Well, I'd be the complete opposite. I'd be going for Ray Murphy. I don't know whether Anthony Culhane will handle Ray Murphy. I know he has the ability and the game to. I think Ray might just have too many shots in the bag for him. You know, we know Ray loves Larkspur, so I mean, particularly if he's there after getting a match.
Yeah.
So that will be a big help to him. So I'm going for Ray Murphy.
Thanks, guys. This leaves up to me. I'll tell you why I'm going to make the choice I make, because it is the morning game on the Sunday. If it was the last game on the Sunday, I think that's a different method. And I think if it was the first game on the Saturday, the first round, I think Anthony would have the advantage in both. But because it's the first game on the Sunday morning, I'm going to go with Ray Murphy. Experience alone and the fact of when it's being played. Right? Kieran Earls and Ian Dillon. This was the final 3 years ago or 4 years ago. John.
Okay. Well, in the previous round, I'd robbed to beat Kieran. So how could I say that Kieran would beat Ian then? So no, again, it's going to be very, very tough. Now, I think the further Kieran gets, the better he gets.
Yeah.
So I'll go for Kieran Earls here. So I think, yeah.
Skinner.
Yeah, I'll go for. Again, Kieran's a tremendous player, but I just think Ian Dillon might be a dark horse this year. I'm going to go for Ian Dillon. And again, on your theory, Frank, early morning, as John said, Kieran gets better as the tournament goes on. I think Ian might catch him cold on the Sunday morning and might beat him.
Yeah. Again, though, you know, it's a Sunday morning. There's a huge fitness element to this as well. It's a war of attrition as it goes along. I think Fitness doesn't come into it in the first morning of the issue. I'm going to go with Kieran with the deciding vote. See now how I do this? Very easy. Right. Chris Scannell and Mark Miller. John.
Yeah. Again, I went for Keith Redmond against Mark in the previous round.
Democracy is an awful thing.
I'm getting them all wrong.
Yeah, democracy is a disaster. Go on.
Yeah, but that's going to be a very close game. If Chris can putt, as we said before, he'll be very dangerous around here. We're saying the exact same thing about Mark Miller. It's a toss of a coin, but I'll go for the Corkman. I'll go for Chris Scannell.
Skinner.
Yeah, I'll be going for Mark Miller because if Mark gets over his first match and he's there on the Sunday morning. I mean, Mark Miller is a dangerous man when he gets going. So I'll be going for Mark.
This is deliberate. You know that. The two of you said this before. No. I can tell.
But people as we see it.
Putting is too important. Mark Miller. Next. We have Chris Gallagher versus James Ryan. Good opportunity now for the guys to get through or into a third round. John?
Yeah. Again, we spoke about two of them in depth. I think if Chris can get over James Ryan, he can go a long way as well. So, look, I'm going for Chris Gallagher.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'll go for the same. I think Chris could be a person that could play himself right into this.
Yeah.
James Ryan won't give him an easy ride. But having said that, I'll just go for Chris to beat him.
I think again Sunday morning it's going to Chris will have played the course. There'll be no surprises. Yeah. Your home advantage takes less as it goes on.
Yeah.
Right. Dennis Monaghan and Michael Fennell.
Michael Fennell should win this. I know I spoke about Dennis, how nice around my age and the whole lot, and I wish him all the very, very best, but I think Michael Fennell will be too strong for him. So Michael Fennell is my guy here.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'll be going for Michael Fennell as well. I think he just has more form in the bag than Dennis would have at this point in time, so I'll be going for Michael.
Dean Granlin and Sean Goggins, we want to keep the time up now, John, so yeah.
Yeah, I think Sean Goggins should win here. Sean Goggins, simple as.
Skinner?
Yeah, if Dean beats Damien, which we went for, well, I didn't, but anyway, Sean Goggins. Yeah, well, I'll go for Sean Goggins, but I put up a video that if Dean Grennan beats Sean Goggins, I expect him to go a long way.
Very good. Dean Grennan is strong. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Great, another fantastic match. Anyone who's spectating, get up to Larkspur Park on the Sunday morning. This is going to be, there's some mighty matches here. Stephen Shore, Dahi Sexton.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very close game as well. And I spoke again in depth about Dahi and how well he's playing and how sticky he is in match play. However, Stephen Shore around Tipperary, I'll have to go for Stephen Shore.
Skinner?
Yeah, I'd have to think along the same lines. I mean, I think Stephen Shore is going to go a long way in this tournament, regardless of who he meets. So I know that he's playing great stuff and he's well capable of beating him, but I have to go for Stephen.
Perfect. An all Leinster affair, Ian Farley versus William Buckley Jr.
Yeah, we all spoke about Willie's pitching ability, and if he's able to putt, he'll be too strong for Ian Farley. So I think William Buckley for me.
Skinner?
Yeah, Ian Farley to me is a very, very good player. He'll have got a match under his belt. William Buckley, if he puts, will take a lot of beating, whoever he plays. But I'm going to go for Ian Farley.
Okay, so that means it comes to me. If they were Forson's partner, they'd be brilliant. Because Ian's putting is great at William. I'm going to go with William this time. I just think he's too strong for Ian. I know I'm a big fan of going for the guys who can putt, but I just think William will be too close. Paddy Noonan, the surprise of the first round against GJ Lynch versus Jim Judge.
Well, if we get it right with Paddy in the first round, I would give him a right chance. Yeah, I would give him a right chance against Jim then. So, and he is my club mate, so I'm going for Paddy Noonan.
Anthony?
I'm going to go for Jim Judge. I just think Jim is a very rock solid match play player, so he has the form in the bag. So I'll just go for Jim.
I think Paddy Noonan has so underperformed his scores the way he's played. I played with him out in Bishopstown. I'm going to go with Paddy Noonan. Not to not to give out to Jim Judge, but I think Paddy will be on such a high that he's through to this stage that he'll do well. Jason Larkin and Stephen Murray, an all Dublin affair. John.
I think if Stephen is on his game, Stephen will be too strong for Jason. That's not saying Jason hasn't the ability to beat Stephen, but I just think that on his day, Stephen Murray, he's more experienced than Jason as well. I think Stephen Murray will win.
Skinner?
Yeah, I go along the same lines as John there. I think if Stephen pitches well over the weekend, he'll go a long way in the tournament. Jason's a tremendous player, but I think Stephen just has that little edge on him at the moment.
Very good. Gary Healy and Owen Walsh. This should be another cracking game.
Well, if Walshy can continue playing the way he is, I don't know how well or how bad or how Gary is playing, to be quite honest. We all know of Gary, and we all know of his ability. There's no doubt about that. But I can tell you for a fact Owen Walsh is playing out of his skin, so I'm going for Owen Walsh.
Skinner?
Yeah, well, the form line speaks for Owen Walsh, and we know Gary's a bit of an enigma. If Gary plays well, he absolutely can get to us from everywhere, chipping, putting, anything. You know what I mean? But having said that, on the farm line at the moment, I'd be going for Owen Walsh.
Perfect. Tommy Hanley and Owen Aylward.
Yeah, well, I went against Tommy in the previous round, so I've got to. I hope Tommy doesn't hold it against me, but I go for Owen here again, the way he performed down in Cunningar last week.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'll be going for Tommy Hanley. I think Tommy is a tremendous player. Does well in most tournaments he plays in. Again, a great putter. Owen will gain a lot from the experience. He gained a lot from the experience, obviously, in Cunningar, but I'm going for Tommy.
Yeah, leaving it up to me again. Yeah, Tommy's too experienced. I think his experience will stand him. I know it's in Tipperary. I'm going for Tommy. Right. George McGreal and Amy Gibney. Another cracking match.
Yeah, going to be a close game, but like I saw George up in Rock Lodge a couple of years ago in the match play as well. I think Fleming beat Delaney in the final, but George was tremendous up there that day as well, or that weekend. I'm going for George McGreal to beat Eamon Gibney.
Skinner?
I certainly have to go along with that. George is a tremendous player, very consistent. Eamon Gibney, brilliant player, but his putting will keep him in the match. If George fires, I think he wins.
Perfect. Another cracker. Sunday morning, the place to be, Larkspur Park. Paddy O'Sullivan versus John Cahill. Now, John Cahill beat him in Cunningar last week. John?
Yeah. Good and all the Paddy is playing wise and the whole lot. I just can't see him beating John around Larkspur. I presume like John will have been down in Larkspur for a good number of practice sessions, as John Cahill does.
Times already.
Yeah. It's not for under preparation he'll suffer from anyway. So I'm going for John Cahill.
Skinner?
Yeah, I think John might take Paddy all right. I mean, it's going to be, as you said, Frank, there's some tremendous games there. There's games there worthy of any of the finals.
Yeah.
Any of the final, but whatever. But I'll go for John Cahill. I think John just might have that little edge on him, experience-wise, and been at that level for a long, long time. So I'm going for John Cahill.
Good. We'll even get faster now, guys. Damien Fleming, Owen Shannon. John?
Owen Shannon. Don't have to say any more.
I'll go for Damien Fleming.
Damien Fleming it is. Zero voted again, John. This democracy thing. You know what Churchill said? He said the worst form of government is democracy apart from everything else. You know?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I just have a funny feeling there'll be a lot of people passing me over the weekend.
Thanks, John. Well done. Right. Ray Murphy and Kieran Earls.
Oh, what a match that is. Oh God, and I didn't vote for any of the two of them.
That was your chance.
Yeah.
On Kieran Earls, I'll go for Kieran Earls.
I'll go for Ray Murphy.
Right, Kieran Earls won it in this course. I'm going to go for Kieran Earls. Ray's getting older. He'll be over 55 any minute now. Right. Mark.
And what's wrong with that?
Mark Miller and Chris Gallagher.
Who was it?
Chris Gallagher for me, I think. Yeah, Chris Gallagher.
Against Mark Miller, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go for Chris there, yeah.
Okay. Chris Gallagher he started the week, has had his odds halved since yesterday.
Whoa.
Just to let you know.
Okay.
Right. Michael Fennell and Sean Goggins. Tipperary versus Sean.
Well, I'm going for Michael Fennell here.
I'll have to stick with Sean.
Yeah.
I think his game is coming back to him. So if he goes down there with any confidence at all, I think he has a great chance of doing well.
You know, Sean Goggins gave out to me 2 years ago because I tipped him to win the whole thing. And he was
well, he's quite happy, so yeah, you know what to do.
Yeah, Sean Goggins. Stephen Shore and William Buckley Jr.
Stephen Shore for me.
Stephen Shore for me.
Paddy Noonan and Stephen Murray. Paddy's had a good run, but
yeah, I think Paddy's run has come to an end now, so I'll go for Stephen Murray.
I'll agree with that one.
Perfect.
Stephen Murray.
Owen Walsh and Tommy Hanley.
Owen Walsh for me.
Owen Walsh for me.
That should make life easy for me all of a sudden. And George McGreal and John Cahill.
That's another tough game again now.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that John could do it this time. John Cahill, I'll go for.
Skinner?
I'll go for George McGreal.
I'm actually going to go for George McGreal as well. And
the only good thing now, there'll be more people passing you the way things are going, Frank.
Yeah, they know nobody likes me anyway. It's grand.
You know I'm talking to us when we show
up. Yeah, right. We're down to the Sunday. Now, remember, this is the third round of the Sunday. This is the war of attrition that we spoke about. This is the hard yards.
Yeah.
Damien Fleming versus Kieran Earls. They'll both be exhausted. They'll both be, if it's a hot day, they'll both be under pressure. 3 games in one day is not at this intensity is nothing to be sniffed at.
I understand that, but these two have done it before and have done it. So we'll go for Fleming. Go for Damien Fleming.
Yeah, so will I, Damien Fleming.
Yeah. Chris Gallagher versus Sean Goggins.
Chris Gallagher for me.
Yeah, I'll go for Chris Gallagher. Yeah.
Perfect. Joe Buck would be devastated. Stephen Shore and Stephen Murray.
I think Stephen Shore will beat Stephen Murray. So Stephen Shore for me.
I'm going to go for Stephen Murray.
Yeah. Home advantage won't be as important as it was, but the effort that the guy's putting into it, Stephen Shore. See, somebody will be talking to me. Owen Walsh and George McGreal.
Well, Owen is going to be the last Cork man, so I'm going for Owen here. Yeah.
Skinner.
Am I going? This could be the third dub in the semi-final. This is what we're looking at.
Could be, yeah.
How will I go for George? Why not?
Yeah, you can't have dubs in this. Owen Walsh, right?
You're politically correct, Skinner.
I'm keeping good anyway, haven't
I? Right. Monday morning. We have. What did I do to this?
Damien Fleming versus
Chris Gallagher.
Sean Goggins. Chris Gallagher.
Yeah. Damien Fleming versus Chris Gallagher. Right. Monday morning. Big crowd around. Great to have got there. John?
Yeah, I'm just looking and thinking. I'll go for... No, I just love to see Chris Gallagher get to a final anyway, whether he'll win or not. So I'm going for Chris Gallagher.
Oh, why? Skinner?
I think at that stage, Chris's race might be run, so I'm going to go for Damien Fleming.
Okay. Chris has been paid out by the bookie for getting to the semi-final, so I'm going to go for Damien. Right. And bottom half of the draw, Stephen Shore and Owen Walsh.
No, it's George McGreal got in, wasn't it?
No, I voted for Stephen Shore.
Yeah, he did.
No, but George, who got in between Owen Walsh and George McGreal?
Owen Walsh did.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
I thought. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
very good.
It was 1-1, and I went for Owen
Walsh. Okay.
Yeah. Because I couldn't have 3 dubs in the semi-final. Yeah.
I think Stephen Shore will be too strong for Owen Walsh then. So yeah, I'll go for Stephen Shore.
Skinner.
Well, I'm going to go for Owen Walsh to beat Stephen Shore.
You just don't want me to have anyone talking to me ever again, isn't that it? That's the whole point in this. Stephen Shore, it's
all speculation, Frank.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And the final, Damien Fleming versus Stephen Shore, and the winner is going to be
Stephen Shore.
Damien Fleming.
Stephen Shore. Right.
No, as I said at the start of this podcast, we've got it wrong every year.
Yeah, we have. But the bookie has predicted this is the final as well, so we're not too far out.
I didn't know that.
So, gents, thanks a million for joining me and giving your honest opinion. It is important that this does. I think it adds to the atmosphere of the weekend, the event, and it is. I think every year we get over 1,000 independent views on this, and that goes to show you the
create interest.
Yeah, it does creates interest and creates a buzz, and it's fantastic. So thank you one and all. John O'Leary, a legend of the game, and Skinner Malone, and even legend.
Can I ask you a question, Frank, before we go?
Ask me anything, ever.
Well, we need masks and disguises when we go down there.
or why don't they stand us outside the gate?
I'm working on mine already.
Why don't they stand us outside the gate and make us watch the spectators?
But having said that, Frank, well done yourself for organising this, and congratulate you on it. But I also, looking at, if the matches work out the way we were calling them, we're in for a tremendous weekend. It's all in the best interest of the sport, let's be honest.
Exactly. And what I'd like to do is, Frank, prove us all wrong, go and win it.
Don't you worry. Yeah. Don't you worry. We were from lack of trying anyway.
I'll definitely buy a Britvic orange, Frank, if you win.
But another important point, guys, is, and I just briefly talk about this, there's no dud games in this at all. There's no players that you'd say, oh my God, that's going to be a 14-12 battering.
Well,
So
now looking at the players that's in the first round, right, and then the potential matches that's there on Sunday morning.
Thanks, John.
There's 16 matches there. Unbelievable.
I'm happy for you to go if you want to head. I know.
I will. I have to go.
John, I'll talk to you. I'll see you down there. Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.
Okay, John. No problem. Bye.
But looking at the potential matches, it's fantastic. But hopefully it'll be a good weekend. Weather-wise, hopefully that's all we need.
Hopefully it will. And look, we have to look at seeding. We have to look at getting the top games in this event, because it just shows you the Sunday morning there. There's one after the next is just game after.
There's about 5 matches that are potential finals.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what we want in the national.
Yeah, well, we've worked on the thing as it is, the rankings as it is. So hopefully we'll be implementing them from next year onwards.
Great.
That'd be my dream anyway, and I'm sure it's yours as well. And we all want the best players there. Let's be honest.
Thanks a million, Skinner.
No bother, Frank. Talk to you.
Bye.
Take care.